Welcome to another week keeping up with the federal legislature. This is The Gavel on Channels TV. I'm Terry Ikumi. Now, on Tuesday, the Senate received a communication from President Bola Tinubu urgently seeking approval for the deployment of troops to Benin Republic following a failed coup in that country.
Will the Senate now confirm the actions of Mr. President in the deployment of the Air Force and troops to Benin Republic to ensure peace mission and restore order and sanity in that country, thereby saving Nigerians from thousands and thousands of refugees? Those in support of the confirmation of the approval say aye. Those against say nay. The approval is hereby confirmed.
With the communication of Mr. President, which has been read this morning, that we will discuss the validity and the appropriateness.
Once it is closed, Mr. President, you cannot reopen it. It is sealed in concrete. Our endorsement of the action is total. It is not open to further conversation.
There was no need for debate when there is total consent. You will only debate when you have divergent views.
Separately, the challenges in the aviation sector were debated by the upper chamber, particularly the hike in flight fares.
From Abuja to Lagos ranges from 400 to 650,000. And then from here to Enugu is about 500,000. When we noticed all this, the committee, we decided to even investigate further. And we now find out that cut across, people cannot afford to travel.
This is over 400% increment at a go. We never had it this way, Mr. President. And that takes us to the question to the Ministry of Aviation of Federal Republic of Nigeria. When are we going to have back our Nigeria Air?
There is need for us, having known all these facts, to bring all these relevant stakeholders and confront them.
Mr. President, I think this motion that he brought, it looked nice on the surface, but it does not work for the airline owners. It's not going to work because this is a law of demand and supply. The spare parts are costly.
That the Senate should invite all relevant stakeholders immediately to appear before the Senate Committee on Aviation and other relevant committees immediately to avoid exploitation of Nigerians and disruption of travel plans.
Now, during Wednesday's plenary, Senator Abdul Ningi raised a concern over the president's police withdrawal directive and what appears to be selective implementation.
Right from 1999, I was having a police orderly, one police orderly. And I have never requested for any additional security personnel. And I woke up today and I was told my police orderly and other police orderlies are withdrawn. Mr. President, I have no problem with that. My problem is that this thing should go across the board. Let's see what happens from the office of the president to the vice president to the Senate president to the Speaker of the House to the ministers. Mr. President, I'm coming after they have withdrawn my only orderly. I saw two convoys of ministers and they were carrying lots of security personnel. I have also seen business concern, Chinese and other business concern with the compliments of orderlies. Mr. President, I have also seen daughters and sons of political office holders having orderlies and having security covers. Mr. President, I have seen singers having orderlies and complementary of protection. I cannot ever imagine that a senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria who has been here for a very long time, only one orderly, and he is withdrawn. and nothing will happen. Like I said earlier, Mr. President, I have no problem. But let it be done across the board.
The chairman of the Police Affairs Committee should take up this matter, conduct a proper investigation, and let us know why is the directive of Mr. President being flouted. And I'm sure we have a listening president. He will listen to us, and by grace of God, he will exempt us from that order, which was given in good faith.
Well, let's head to the Green Chamber now, where the issue of local flight fares running into almost $500,000 was heavily debated, just like the Senate.
What the airlines operators in Nigeria have done in the past 12 hours is completely uncalled for. And I stand with the content of this very motion that our operators, airline operators, should be called to order.
My own opinion is that we should be very circumspect on this matter. We cannot jump into regulating air cost prices because there are variables that I believe are technical, and we need a greater in-depth analysis before we can take such a decision.
If you look at the airfare at the end of your ticket when you book, you will see the diagnosis, or you will see the breakdown how the airfare is charged, and you will see how much money goes to the airline operator.
For the first time in 20 years, this administration, through national reform, has made it possible for international dry leaser to accept to come to Nigeria for the first time. And you know what that means? It means that they are getting aircrafts now 1/3 of what the usual price was.
As the debate continued, lawmakers kicked against subsidizing flight fares and proposed alternatives.
Urge the federal government to reduce the airport and other auxiliary charges by 50% during the festive period only.
The House is also asking the federal government to immediately grant tax waivers to airlines to reduce flight fares this Yuletide season. Meanwhile, a bill seeking to amend the Central Bank of Niger Act has scaled second reading in the House.
Separate the role of governor and the board of director chairman to avoid concentration of powers and ensure professional oversight. The second aspect this bill helps to incur is to introduce a single 6 years non-renewable tenure for the governor of the central bank and deputies. The third aspect of this bill intended to provide is to restricting ways and means of advances to 10% of the previous year's actual renewal.
The bill also seeks to mandate a uniform exchange rate and prohibition of use of foreign currencies for local transactions, as well as a 90-day notice before the redesign of the Naira. Now, the House of Representatives walked out the executive chairman of the FIRS, Zacchaeus Adedeji, from the chamber during its executive session on Tuesday. Channels Television gathered from some lawmakers that the FIRS chairman was walked out for being arrogant to members. The lawmakers further revealed that the finance minister, who was also in attendance, assured members that the 2024 budget would be financed 100% within 48 hours, while the 2025 budget is to be extended to April and funded at 30% immediately and 20% before the end of the year. Channels Television also gathered that lawmakers are insisting that the 2026 budget will not be received until all issues are resolved, as promised by the finance minister. Well, this comes on the heels of agitations by members for several weeks now over non-payment of contractors due to non-release of funds for the zonal intervention projects. On Wednesday, the chairman of the Public Accounts Committee moved a motion on the observations from the 2022 financial year report of the Auditor General of the Federation against the central bank.
Cumulatively, the committee has uncovered that the Central Bank of Nigeria is indebted to the federal government of Nigeria to the tune of over 11 trillion naira. The Central Bank of Nigeria has failed, refused, or neglected to honor the invitations or effect the required remittances as directed by the committee.
Mr. President should pay attention to this this revelation from a committee that is a creation of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. This is the only committee that is mentioned in the Constitution.
The Speaker's decision to align with an amendment for an ad hoc committee to take over the investigation caused a stir.
We have agreed that the prayer of Orubugali should be sustained if the House accepts to constitute an ad hoc committee that will comprise of the chairman of the Committee on Public Accounts as the chair, and all finance-related committees can be members.
In as much as the committee has written severally to the agency and they have not been honoring, this time around is a resolution of the House for them to appear before the committee. So you don't have to populate the committee with other functions.
If this committee, as every other committees, if they had gone this far, I don't want us to frustrate them because of tomorrow, so that other committees may not bring this type of issue up again.
Throughout the session was sustained, with members showing clear agitation.
Please maintain orderliness now. Maintain orderliness. You will speak.
Order. Oh my God.
The Speaker, visibly upset, called out and issued warnings to some lawmakers for disorderly conduct.
Please let us stop this. Honorable Marquez said, I'm warning you. If you don't stop this behavior, believe me sincerely, and Honorable Kabir Mepalas will take you to ethics. I do not want to set an example in this House, but you are trying to force me to. If we continue to behave or rule in this House, I swear to God, we will start doing what we need to do. Please.
Calm was eventually restored and a resolution was reached.
To summon the CBN governor and relevant agencies involved to appear before Committee on Public Accounts unfailingly.
Those in support of this motion as amended say aye. Aye. Those against should say nay. The ayes have it.
In the meantime, the House has received and approved a motion to review the operational activities of the NNPC Pension Fund Limited.
Urge the NNPC Pension Fund Limited to, within 3 months, commence payment of all accumulated pension and arrears due to retirees of the corporation. Mr. Speaker, number 4, to mandate the Committee on Pension to investigate operational activities of the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation Pension Fund Limited with a view to A, develop comprehensive framework to improve pension administration within NNPC, B, recommend the establishment of a dedicated pension reserve fund specifically for accrued rights and payments, and C, scrutinize the financial records, investigate portfolios and asset management practices of the NNPC Pension Fund Limited, and to recommend sanctions where evidence of negligence, fraud, or misappropriations are established, and report within 4 weeks for further legislative action. Lastly, Mr. Speaker, to also mandate the committees on pension and legislative compliance to ensure compliance.
Welcome back to the gavel. Let's turn our attention now to the screening of the ambassadorial nominees of the President. 20 career ambassadors were screened first by the Senate Committee on Foreign Affairs.
I've been working with him and the Senate President to see what can be done to improve the situation in our foreign missions. The question he's asking you, depending on your experience, are questions that you have to serve in some specific positions to get answers.
A serving senator who is also a non-career ambassadorial nominee was also up for screening, but asked to take a bow and go. As the exercise commenced in earnest, questions began to pour in.
There are a lot of issues around the revenue that is generated by our foreign missions abroad that shows that most of this revenue are not remitted into the coffers of the government.
I believe that the Foreign Service is heavily underfunded. If the Foreign Service can get its appropriation, remittances denominated in the currencies in which they operate in, it will go a long way in solving the perennial problems of missions and the tendency for requests for interventions.
We wish you well and congratulations.
The following day, more ambassadorial nominees arrived to the National Assembly in preparation for their screening. The notable personalities before the committee included the former INEC chairman, former sole administrator of Rivers State, former chief of army staff, and former minister of defense.
My name is Mahmoud Yakubu, former executive secretary, Tertiary Education Trust Fund, TED Fund, and former chairman INEC.
Retired Lieutenant General Abdurrahman Bello Dambazau, a former chief of army staff and former minister of interior. Thank you.
My name is Fatima Florence Ajimobi, wife of late Senator Abiola Ajimobi from Oyo State. I appear before...
Finish. We all know you. Finish.
Thank you.
My name is Professor Isaac Adewale, former president of the African Organization for Research and Training in Cancer, former vice chancellor, University of Ibadan, former minister of health, Federal Republic of Nigeria.
My name is Chief Fani Kayode. I was the Minister of Aviation of this country, and I was also the Minister of Culture and Tourism of this country.
All 5 nominees were asked to take a bow and go. Former ministers, lawmakers, and ambassadors were equally asked to take a bow and go.
The people that we asked to take a bow and go were people who had had the privilege of serving as elected members of the National Assembly. And the reason why that is done, not only in Nigeria, but all over the world, we also relied on the report, the security report from the DSS, from the police, and other relevant security agencies.
Tension, however, broke out when it was the turn of a former presidential spokesperson, Mr. Omokri, when a motion was raised for him to take a bow and go.
The procedure is that if there is a motion on ground, it should be seconded. If it is not seconded, it's dead.
It's dead. So allow me to continue. Mr. Chairman, you have allowed me. Please protect me. Mr. Chairman, I think I needed to speak on this in the public interest. With particular reference to the nominee, Reno. Because we cannot pretend we have not heard stories.
We can't work on stories.
For me.
There is no petition before the
For me.
Any petition?
And so when I talk, those who are not the governors should listen.
Governors come to Senate.
You have to have...
Governors, you struggle to...
Your Excellency, you have to have that large heart.
Become a senator.
You have to have, for me, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has showed a rare quality.
For several minutes, the face-off continued, bringing the screening process to a standstill.
Senator Ndume, are you opposed to Omokri's nomination?
No.
Senator Shoman, are you opposed to the nomination?
I have recorded it over and over 100%.
So you're on the same page?
Finally, calm was restored. The committee subsequently cleared all 67 nominees ahead of their final confirmation by the entire Senate next week. It's time now for Constituency Focus, and here's Representative Patrick Umo, who represents Ikorekpene Esienudim of Borakara Federal Constituency of Akwa Ibom State.
So far, so good. I have contributed immensely to the development of legislation in Nigeria, particularly having led debate in about 3-4 bills. I've presented about 12 bills for consideration. I have done several motions and petitions on the floor of the House. And the core mandate of my committee has been to monitor and evaluate the implementation of legislative agenda, which we have been doing day after day. I am engaging very seriously with my constituency so I can bring governance down to my constituents. First 3 months, I paid bursary to students, indigent students in public institutions, and it went well with them. I have also incorporated several cooperative societies for young people with startup business grants to make them self-reliant. I try to inspire self-reliance among the youths. And my core interest is in youth development because a large proportion of my constituents are youths and they need to be self-reliant. Next month or so, we have plans to train youths on digital economy. And this is right and fitting at a time like this when we need to embrace the blue, the green, and the digital economy to change and transform the gross domestic product of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. I'm partnering with the Justice Development and Peace Commission and Air Fund project to ensure that the youths of my constituency acquire new skills and can be self-reliant. I have done much more by interacting with stakeholders across party lines to ensure that they engender support for government, for the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and the Senate President of Nigeria, who incidentally is my most prominent constituent. And the partnership has been a laudable one. We're interacting with major stakeholders across party delineations so as to ensure that we deliver on the deliverables as promised during campaigns. We're doing our very best, and then we've contributed immensely in rural development, ensuring that our people see the need to support government, and then we're doing that because we owe the people who voted us into power. We're also interested in sports development. I work with a team, and I know by the grace of Almighty God, before the end of the year, we'll identify the stars that we can promote in sports development. This is what I have done for my people in the past few months in office. And in terms of the budget, we have, the budget has been passed, and to the glory of God, we're executing, or I'm sure that government will execute for my people, the major roads infrastructure that is the core need of my people. There are so many road infrastructure projects that we're looking at, and we're trusting that when completed, the people will be happy. Again, we have also identified another major project, which is the Skills Acquisition Center and the ICT Center, so that the majority of my constituents who are youth can take advantage of these facilities and inspire self-reliance. We have done much more, and before long, these projects would have been completed and will be commissioned accordingly. It is my intention to represent my people beyond the shores of Nigeria in my participation in friendship committees, which by the indulgence of the Speaker, I chair some of them. I'm chairman, Nigerian Tanzanian Friendship Group, and I belong to other friendship groups, which is also to bring to the fore the participation of Nigeria and business interests of Nigeria in partnering with other countries. So far, so good. I still have much more to do for my people because I know that they deserve the best.
Now, just before we go, President Bola Tinubu has submitted the MTEF and FSP 2026 to 2028 to both chambers of the National Assembly. The year is running out, and Parliament, we here, will take a break next week. Well, the MTEF is before Parliament now, although behind schedule, considering the January to December budget cycle. Now, here's the thing. The Fiscal Responsibility Act requires that the MTEF be submitted to the National Assembly at least 4 months before the beginning of the next fiscal year. This deadline is to give legislators enough time to review the framework and the accompanying fiscal strategy paper before the annual budget is prepared and presented. Well, that's the gavel this week. Thanks for your time. I'm Terry Kumi. Goodbye.